in Target. If you come to my firm, the expectations are up here. If you go to Joe Schmo firm, their expectations may be, oh, that's cute, they made a typo, they're a student. It's not good enough for me. Okay? So we've talked about competition. We've talked about the fact that your work needs to be on the web. How many of you are learning to put your work on the web in your classes? Okay, good. How many of you haven't even heard of that before? Yeah. Go tell your professors not doing their job. In New York, you almost have to have a custom site to get looked at in New York. So for those of you that have that dream, start learning how to do a mind-blowing website.
So what else should we have on our website besides
So you want your resume.
Yeah, resume.
You want, I think every student should have at least one video. And if you don't have to do a video in class, what you should do is do a video resume. And it's you, and you're talking about, now don't say, my name is Cindy Jones. I'm a senior at the University of South Florida on Fowler Avenue. I'm involved in 4 organizations. Who cares? My God, tell me who you are. What are you about? You know, hey, my name's Lisa Brock. You know, I'm interested in events. I like events because when I was a little kid, my mom took me to Woodstock, and I was amazed at all the color there, the different hair, the people swimming naked in the pond. I want to hear that. That's the color of your life. I don't want, I grew up in Pompano Beach. I have 4 brothers and sisters. I'm just asleep already. Okay? Average people will take that. If you want an above average job, you need to stick out. Don't stick out by being a jerk or being like, a student at USF last week sent me a shoe. I was just trying to get my foot in the door. First of all,
was it used?
no, thank God. Trust me, my team opens my mail and they came in there like, hey, you got a shoe in the mail again. I'm like, I know, somebody trying to get their foot in the door. And it was an intern, they're like, oh my God, how'd you know that? I'm like, I've gotten about, I don't know, 80 over the years. Come on. Let's have an original quality. Now, you know, there are no new ideas. I get that. There are no new ideas. But let's put a fresh spin on an old idea. He sent a wingtip. Shoot me. Okay, terrible. Poor thing. But I did call him back. I said, I got your shoe. Yeah, I wouldn't do that again. Thank you. Good try. I gave him some feedback on his resume. I'm very sympathetic to students. Most people are not. And I think I'm that way because I teach. But most people, they'll take your shoe and go, thank you very much, and you'll never hear from them. You know, students always tell me, no one ever writes me back. Right, you're not going to. Companies are too burdened by the economy today, and they're laid off everybody, and so nobody has time to call you back. But not me. I think it's important, so I do it.
So what's another good example of standing out besides, obviously, the fail and the shoe?
Okay, here's the most important way to stand out. It's easy. You're all going to go, I can't do that, I work, I do this. Build a network now. The reason I'm here tonight is Ryan came to see me, how many years ago?
2 years ago?
2 years ago. He was sent by a professor. Once again, I'm nice to students. I think that's why you came, right?
I saw you at the regional activity first time. Yeah.
Of that memory.
I've
So he saw me somewhere, but you know what? He had the cojones to pick the phone up and call me. And I didn't remember him. Are you kidding me? You know how many kids I meet? But you know what? He had a good gab. Well, I met you here and I saw you here and I was wondering if, and I'm thinking to myself, God, no, what do I have to do so I can blow this kid off? I'm busy. Okay, I'm busy. But he had enough of a whatever it was, and we do call that the intangible. We call it that. We will say, that kid's got the intangibles. And then we'll say, she's fine, but no intangibles. And we're always looking for intangibles. So that's why I'm here. And then Amanda, interns for Work Done, who's a client of mine who rents space in my office. It's all a big web. It's all a big web. So you might say, well, how do I make my web? Okay? Get out and meet people. Okay? That leadership stuff we were talking about, your professors are part of your network. Okay? I say this with mixed feelings, but your parents might be part of your network if they're in business. Okay? Access their friends. Don't let mommy write it for you. I get actual letters written by my students' parents. I'm like, really? I can't talk to you about your student. Stop it. Let your kid grow up. So access their colleagues in business, but do the work yourself. So your network's already growing and extending. When you intern, when you leave your internship, don't lose contact with those people, especially if you had a good experience. Okay? So professors, internships, volunteer activities, other students sometimes. There's a kid here, okay? Your network is everybody and anybody that you've had positive associations with. So your network can be that student sitting next to you that you might help one day, and then they'll come back and help you one day. So it's altruistic as well, okay? So think of it that way. Everybody can be in the network, but your network is like a web. Where does the spider sit in the web?
Depends on the spider.
Like a mosquito?
They sit in the middle.
That was deep.
A spider sits in the middle. When they're working, they're moving around the web, but when they're resting and sleeping, they sit in the middle. Why do you think that is?
It's really comfortable.
No, it has nothing to do with comfort. It has to do with the advantage of looking out on the web. Okay? They're sitting in the middle, and they can turn, and they can see their whole web. And so you always want to be in the middle of your web, and your web should have different constituents. Faculty, friends, PRSSA colleagues, volunteer, internship. Okay? And you sit in the middle and you navigate it. Sometime you might need to call a professor, but then sometime you might need to call your PRSSA advisor, which is who? No, I don't know. She's not my network. So, you know, your network is highly individualized, but you are in charge of the network. How many of you were the girl who was always arranging social activities? I'm sorry, y'all aren't girls. So. Anybody in here who's always the one who's getting friends together? And sometimes you just get overwhelmed and you're like, I'm sick and tired of it. Somebody can just call me every now and then. You're the girls who are going to succeed. Because you know what? You're not sitting there waiting for your phone to ring. You're making phones ring. Those are the people at the top of that pyramid. Everybody else, they'll come along. Oh, honey, you'll have people sucking off you like you cannot believe. And you will have to decide at the appropriate point in your life who you're going to allow to suck and who you're not. For me, no one. I don't have time for it. The older you get, you start eliminating those people from your life. But if you're a mover and a shaker, everybody will come to you.